Gutter installation businesses are often overlooked by aspiring entrepreneurs, but they offer strong profit margins, usually 50%, and the ability to boost margins even higher by offering premium services. That's why we're talking to Ruben, owner of GutterWorks, one of Florida's most successful gutter installation businesses, to learn more.
The type of roof, the type of roof pitch, type of gutter that you're going to use, the size of the downspouts. All these complexities, you need to understand that not at one type of gutter, one size of gutter is going to work for this type of roof. 6-inch gutters, which is the main thing here in Florida, being that it's a shingle roof, it's a pretty good profit margin, anywhere between 20 to 30%.
Okay.
You have your more specialty gutters, your commercial gutters, those have a huge spread, but the competition is always there. For us, it's the same process whether it's this one house or that 80 building community.
Yeah.
The system is still the same. You don't necessarily have to pay them boatloads, but don't pay them, bottom dollar.
Yeah.
Make it fair. Make it fair for everybody. How to approach people is very important. Understanding numbers, right? Just because somebody tells you, yeah, are you actually going to make money on that job?
Sure.
Right?
For someone that's like coming out of high school, is a gutter installation business something they can start, or would they step into it doing something like a repair service or gutter cleaning service, something like that? How do they get started? How do they scale? Ruben, you are one of the best reviewed gutter installation services in Florida. What makes you different than your competitors?
So our approach to our customers, right? We want to give this experience to be seamless.
Okay.
Right? We want it from the moment you call in, the discovery call, to the moment that we're engaging production, and then the nurture part of it. We want to make sure that when you hire somebody, that you always refer to us.
Sure.
I remember when I hired GutterWorks, it just completely way of hiring a contractor. So the customer experience is just wonderful. And then the detail, the training for our guys, everything. Everybody's on point. As a company, we always meet on a monthly basis. We're always planning. We're always bettering. We want to make sure, and we track everything, right? When we mess up, when we're doing great, when we get reviews, everything allows us to just give our customers a complete different experience all around.
Nice. So professionalism from top to bottom.
100%.
What are some of the mistakes that you see other businesses in this industry making? I mean, obviously you're focused on that training and professionalism. Is that something that they don't have, or is there another big mistake that you see them making? Yeah,
so planning is the biggest thing that we see from our competitors.
Okay.
Is they don't plan, right? It's all about work. And if you want to scale, if you want to succeed, if you want to go above the average, you have to be planning, right?
Okay.
And so the mistake that they make is their installations are done incorrectly. They lack the amount of caulking that has to be on a corner or on an end cap, the pitch of the gutters, the quality of the material.
Sure.
Right? For us, the material is very important. We want this is a one-time investment that you do every 20 years,
right,
not every 5 years. So we want to make sure that when we're installing, when we're getting our products, they're all the right products. Also, just the communication amongst the office and the installation, that should always be seamless.
Sure.
And that's where we see a lot of mistakes that other companies.
The one thing we've noticed all successful businesses have in common is their ability to efficiently manage customers and invoices. This includes everything from sending bids and email blasts to automating invoices and payments. Project 2 Payment isn't just the sponsor for this video, but we personally recommend them for payment and customer management. The best part is they're only $20 a month, and you can get 3 months for free by using the link in the description below.
And so that probably leads to the really good reviews that you have online and Google. Are you using those reviews now as your main source of prospecting, or what kind of marketing do you do to get new clients into the system?
So we have different, from the trucks
Sure.
to the signs that we leave in the front, Google, Facebook, Instagram. We are actually creating with our realtors, right? Is for them to refer us, and then they get a kickback on this, right?
Okay.
So they get a percentage of every job. So an affiliate program, right? As well as the the outside perspective of other social medias and other platforms. We use
Sure.
that as well.
Nice. So if you think back to, how old is GutterWorks now?
So GutterWorks is getting ready to hit 20 years in the market.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. When you look back to getting involved with GutterWorks, could you tell us what you were doing before being involved with this business?
Yeah, so I was in landscaping.
Okay.
I was in landscaping. I was actually a dad at 15.
Okay.
So coming into this business, my father already had a gutter business. I came into it, I saw the issues of the language barrier.
Oh, interesting.
It was all paper and pencil, no English. I came in and I saw the opportunity. It's a huge opportunity to be able to scale this company. When I sold my landscaping company back in 2017, I said, okay, we can do what other companies are not doing, which is actually providing quality service and quality customer service.
Interesting.
So that's what made us really come into this gutter industry.
Do you feel like there were some cross-functional skills that you had from that landscaping business that applied to being successful with GutterWorks?
Yes, the communication.
Okay.
So being in landscaping, you have to communicate with your customer if there's any changes on the schedule because of weather, right?
Sure.
So for me, communicating and over-communicating with my client, it's key.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be late, if we're coming early, if we're on our way, all that to me is huge. The drainage part of it, when we used to do landscaping, we used to run drainage. Now we do drainage as well, and it connects to the downspouts.
Interesting.
So all these things are coming together to protect the home.
Is gutter installation, it kind of feels like a very straightforward process. Is there some complexity to it? Like, what do you have to take into consideration to make sure that the job is done right?
The type of roof, the type of roof pitch, type of gutter that you're gonna use, the size of the downspouts. All these complexities, you need to understand that not at one type of gutter, one size of gutter is gonna work for this type of roof.
Okay.
Okay? So there's a lot more to it than just throwing up a gutter.
Sure.
The pitch, how many downspouts per section, right? All these things are very important.
Now, do you offer just gutter installation, or are there other services that you offer?
So we do gutters, soffit and fascia, screen enclosures, underground drainage.
Okay.
So we wanna make sure that we're your one-stop shop to take
Nice.
care of all the issues around your home.
Nice. So we've been told that the profit margins in gutter installation is a pretty good profit margin. Would you say that's true? And from the services that you offer, is there one service that has a better profit margin and other services that have a smaller profit margin?
Yeah, so 6-inch gutters, which is the main thing here in Florida, being that it's a shingle roof, it's a pretty good profit margin, anywhere between 20 to 30%.
Okay.
You have your more specialty gutters, your commercial gutters, those have a huge spread, but the competition is always there,
Okay.
right? So we're seeing these prices go down. And the screen enclosures are great as well. The knowledge definitely has to be there, the skill, the planning also has to be there. But all across in the aluminum sector, there's always a pretty good spread.
Interesting. So can you tell us about one of the biggest jobs that you've done in your history with GutterWorks?
Oh yeah, so we've done many. We've done projects upwards of 800,000,
Okay.
500,000, 300,000, just multifamily, right? Multifamily, 20, 30, 100 buildings.
Sure.
So it just, for us, it's the same process whether it's this one house or that 80 building community.
Yeah.
The system is still the same. That's what
Interesting.
allows us to really make sure that we are doing these large projects in order.
Yeah. One of the things that other people have told us is that when starting a business, they struggle with how to price jobs to make sure that they're profitable.
Yes.
How do you manage pricing a job? And you just told us about doing some $800,000 jobs. How do you price an $800,000 job? Is that process the same as doing a single family home?
Not necessarily. There's definitely more planning, right?
Okay.
Is how many people can I get on this project? How much footage can I do in a day, right?
Sure.
We know that in a day we can run 2 guys anywhere between 550 to 600 feet of gutter and downspout on a commercial building, because you're not having to go to 1 stop, 2 stops, 3 stops. You could do a lot more.
Sure.
More guys on a job. But it's all about planning.
Right.
All about planning, estimating. It's understanding how much time does it take you to do one thing. How much is making sure you're back costing, right? If this costs me $1, how much am I selling this for to be able to sell it? You
Sure.
can sell it at $100, but people are actually going to buy?
Right.
So it's also understanding the market.
Yeah. What have you seen in the current market right now? Like, I guess, what are some of the headwinds that you're dealing with in the industry as, things change from a real estate market perspective?
We're definitely seeing prices from competitors going down, especially competitors that don't have an overhead when it comes to insurance, workers' comp, general liability.
Sure.
Some of these competitors are driving some of the prices down. And we're also seeing that the market in general is starting to slow down, right? So what do? How much value can you show to your customer that what we're doing is actually going to cost you less money down in the long term?
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we're heading, is making sure that people understand what it is that they're buying.
Sure. And what is that value? Like, what role does a good gutter installation play in protecting the value of your house?
Of course. No gutters can mean thousands of dollars.
Okay.
Your foundation, your AC unit, the paint on your walls, the window seals around your windows. This is thousands of dollars that you can spend. Just an AC unit alone is about $15,000.
Sure.
So when you have all that water cascading into the AC unit, that's going to damage the AC unit. With a simple, let's say, an average, 2,500 square foot home, it's about $3,500 for gutters.
Okay.
You do that once, you're covered for the next 20 years. Versus not having them, you're having to make sure that you take care of the landscaping. If you have mulch, that mulch you're having to constantly do.
Sure.
The paint's not going to last you as long. Cracks and everything. So it's really a long-term solution for problems down the road.
Nice. Well, you've told us, the importance of managing the process and a little bit about people aspect as well with training. How do you get and retain high quality employees in today's market?
One is treating them like they're part of something, right? People want buy-in. Right?
Okay.
So when you have people buy in, you're training them, you're having company outings, you're spending time with them, right? They're just not the number. When you build things with them, one of the biggest things that we do in the company is we build together.
Okay.
Right? I'm not the only one making decisions.
Sure.
Right? We'll sit around the office. Hey, we want to make this change. What do you guys think? Everybody's inputting.
Sure.
So there's buy-in, right? And then paying people the right amount, right?
Right.
You don't necessarily have to pay them boatloads, but don't pay them, bottom dollar.
Yeah.
Make it fair. Make it fair for everybody.
Sure.
Right? Even as the owner, if you're just thinking about yourself, nobody's gonna win. But if you're thinking about them, they win, you win as an owner.
Sure.
So that's the way we look at it.
And what is the longest tenure employee that you have working for you right now?
7 years.
Okay.
Right? Nobody leaves.
Yeah.
If anything, people leave and they come back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all part of treating your people well, right?
100%.
Yeah, that's interesting. Something I thought of, kind of a personal experience, was when I was looking for a gutter and specifically a roof installer. You mentioned the overhead of having proper insurance for your company.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the importance to the consumer of getting someone to do the work that actually has the proper insurance to do it?
Yeah, definitely. As a consumer, if somebody comes over to your house, doesn't have workers' comp, general liability, you're actually responsible for that person if they get hurt on your property.
Sure.
So they can, the worker can come and sue you for that liability.
Sure.
You're not liable, right? So as a company, we're covering all that. If something happens to our guys, workers' comp is going to cover them, general liability is going to cover them. So it's very important to hire somebody that's fully licensed and insured.
Yeah, interesting. That's good advice. Are you hiring new employees right now to work for your business?
Even when we're not hiring, we always want to take applications.
Sure.
There's moments where a job, like the big jobs that we're mentioning, will come in and we need to get guys trained within 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's constant training. They're going
Okay.
out with our field guys. So yeah, we always want people. We're always hiring at all times.
Nice. So we touched on marketing a little bit earlier. Can you tell us a little bit beyond the word of mouth and your Google reviews and things like that? Are you using social? Are you using online? What role does that play in getting new customers in?
So both are extremely important, right? Your word of mouth somebody's literally vouching for you, right? And that's huge.
Sure.
But also Google, Facebook, social media, that's all very important. You want to also have an online presence. Not everybody wants to talk to somebody nowadays,
Sure.
right? Everybody's kind of behind a computer or behind their phone. So yeah, definitely making sure that you have your company out there, making sure that you can actually express to the consumer who you are and what you do and how you do it.
Sure. So one of the reasons people kind of watch our channel is to be inspired about maybe starting their own business. For someone that's like coming out of high school, is a gutter installation business something they can start, or would they step into it doing something like a repair service or gutter cleaning service, something like that? How do they get started? How do they scale?
Definitely understanding if you want to start a gutter company, going out and working for somebody for a little bit.
Sure.
Understanding what gutters are, how to install gutters, why gutters are being done that they are.
Right.
Understanding sales, right? I think the biggest, like we were talking about earlier, is understanding sales and how to talk to people, right?
Sure.
Tonality, the cadence of how you speak to somebody. That's very important. How to approach somebody, right? Because a lot of times you might not have any money. You might have to go door knock.
Sure.
Right? How do you approach somebody that does not know you, right? How do you look? All these things are very important. And especially with my son, I see it now. He's in high school and we're going through this and I'm teaching him. I'm thinking in my mind, you know this, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? So understanding how to approach people is very important. Understanding numbers, right? Just because somebody tells you, yeah, are you actually going to make money on that job?
Sure.
Right?
Is sales something that's inherent? Can it really be taught to someone that might feel like they're not great at sales right now?
Yeah, you can definitely teach sales, right? Character is one thing, sales is another. Sales is definitely understanding the process, right? The understanding that there's a sales process, right? You need to follow that sales process.
Sure.
You need to understand that there is a discovery, that there's engagement, that there is production, and then there is the part of you nurturing that person, right? If you skip those, your sales tend to go down.
Sure.
So understanding the process of a sales cycle is really good. Talking to people, that's another part of sales. Nurture is actually doing your follow-up, right?
Sure.
So yeah, you can teach sales 100%.
For that person getting started, they try to do gutter cleaning. Are there specific tools that are involved in the trade? Like if you were starting out, what's like a baseline level of tools that you would need to do, gutter cleaning or some of the other services?
So if you are going to be gutter cleaning, definitely a ladder. Right?
Okay.
It's definitely important to have a ladder. Have your general liability. Don't get on somebody's roof and you fall and now the homeowner is having to pay out for that.
It's interesting to mention that as a tool.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
having the general liability.
it's a resource, right, that's needed.
Yeah.
In a scooper, right, they sell them at Home Depot, Amazon,
Sure.
a bucket,
Right.
right, and a car. That's really all you need, somewhere where you can put your ladder.
Yeah.
That's really all you need at this point.
So you can get started simple and figure out how to scale from there.
Yeah, 100%.
Very nice. Well, tell us a little bit about kind of GutterWorks, where you guys are now. If you could share, how sales you do, how many employees you have, things like that, the size of the business.
So the size of the business right now, we're just focused on Central Florida. We do
Okay.
Tampa, we do the East Coast as well. We go as far down as Davenport and Winter Haven. Up north, we go pretty much Austin, Daytona area. Right now, we are at 20 people.
Okay.
All in-house, plus we do have some outside contractors that we work with. We're generating anywhere between 50,000 to about 80,000 a month.
Okay.
Sorry, a week.
Oh, wow.
Not a month, a week. And it's definitely been a up and down in these last 2 years. But
Sure.
being that we went from a lot of B2B to B2C, it's made a big transition because yes, we have to do a little bit more work by presenting the value proposition.
Sure.
But it's definitely the way we're going to continue to grow. We want to go to Tampa.
Okay.
That is the next place that we want to open up a location, and then up in Jacksonville will be our third one.
Nice. And why would you pick those geographic locations to expand to? Just ease of getting to, or do you see the market growing in those areas?
Both.
Okay.
Both. The markets are growing in both areas, and then just to get there is much easier, right? It's 2 hours north, 2 hours left,
Yeah.
west. So that's the reason.
What is B2B in gutter installation versus B2C? And how did you know it was time to transition to a different focus for your business?
B2B is business to business.
Sure.
B2C is business to consumer. There was a moment where most of our business was coming in from business to business. Roofers, mostly roofers, right?
Okay.
They will finish a roof, they will call us in. The problem was you are the middleman. The middleman never makes the money that it's supposed to, right?
Interesting.
It becomes to a point where you are being driven by price, and when you have an overhead, a large overhead, you have to make sure you take care of your people, that you want to scale. That small margin is no longer, you're hitting a glass ceiling.
Sure.
So it got to the point where I needed to pivot and go to B2C, business to consumer, where we grabbed our company and we pretty much said, forget these contractors,
Okay.
can't work with you anymore. Let me work directly with the homeowner. I'm no longer the middleman,
Sure.
right? The prices are higher because, remember, the roofing company already sold it at a much higher price, and then they're hiring you.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, now I'm going directly to the consumer.
Did you have to change your process as far as like prospecting for consumers? Because you were selling to businesses, now you're selling to consumers. How did that change take place?
So the prospecting it's all the same, but the way you go about it is different.
Okay.
Right? It's still a customer, right? The customer being the contractor, you're showing them where they can make money with you, right? You can provide them a service, a branch to the company, versus with the consumer, hey, we're gonna do this, and if we mess up, we're gonna make sure that we are here on time, that we're gonna do things correctly, and explaining everything, educating them.
Sure.
Right? We're now educating the homeowner versus the roofer that is not a gutter guy. Hey, this is the gutters, this is what it's gonna cost you.
One of the things I think that people look for is a motivation to get up and go to work every day. And you mentioned early on being kind of a young dad. And can you tell us like a little bit about the motivational role that played for you in wanting to be successful, or having even a reason to drive for success?
Yeah, I mean, to me, building anything has always been a motivator. Having a son, that just adds a layer on top.
Sure.
My son has always been a motivating aspect for me, but more of a personal feeling. I like goals. I like always succeeding.
Sure.
There's failure in success as well, right? Trying to get to the success, there's always failure. But all around, I think you should always be, when you look in the mirror on a monthly basis, you should always be somebody different, right? From looking at motivational content every morning to learning new tactics, new sales, how to be a better leader.
Sure.
Just all around, that just encompasses wanting growth all around.
Well, who are some of those leaders you look to for motivation or for learning about how to be an entrepreneur or be a better businessman?
One of my biggest ones for leadership is John Maxwell, 21 Laws of Leadership.
Okay.
That's been a huge one. Alex Hormozy, right? The way that they scale companies, the way that they look at companies is very, very direct.
Sure.
Very simple, right? Business, you can make it as simple as you can, and it's much easier for you to understand it. Some of these guys have definitely been big mentors in my life.
Nice.
Right? So just and there's other guys out there, right? There's guys always popping up, so you can pick and choose from different ones.
Sure.
And just applying them to your life, right? That's what really matters.
Yeah.
You can have mentors, but if you're not applying anything, it's not getting you anywhere.
Definitely. I think a lot of people that are looking at going into a trade specifically might not have like a college background. Do you think that's important? Is it important to have a college background? Did you go to college to be involved with GutterWorks? Or what's your general feeling on that?
So I was a dad at 15, right? Freshman, sophomore in high school. And I went to college for, I think, a year.
Okay.
And I sat down with a roofer one day, and he pretty much broke it down to me. Are you going to do one or the other? And I made a decision.
Sure.
Let me go into business. School isn't going to teach me what I've learned here, actually
Sure.
grinding it out,
Right.
Or YouTube University, right?
Yeah.
College is not going to do that for you. You need to go out there. It's going to give you a lot of theories, right? But it's not going to give you the actual how to be a leader, how to manage people, how to motivate people,
Sure.
how to sell, right? A lot of these things you have to be on the spot to actually learn them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Looking back on the 20 years of your business, is there a specific thing that you look back, a mistake that you say, if I wish I could have done this differently, or my business would be more successful if I had done this differently early on?
Understanding my numbers.
Okay.
Your numbers are everything. Your numbers give you a story, okay? And when you have a story, you know when to pivot or when to make changes.
Sure.
There's a point in business where you're just making money and you're not really paying attention to expenses. You're not paying attention to where money's coming in from, if it's Google, if it's Facebook. So understanding your numbers, it allows you to really know where you're going and how you're getting there.
So for a new business owner, tracking those numbers from the beginning is of utmost importance.
That's the most important thing, right? Because we're here to make money.
Yeah.
But we also have to spend money to make money.
That's true. Very true. Well, do you have any other words of wisdom or advice that you would give to people looking to get involved in a trade? Not necessarily gutters, but just a general, getting involved in trades in general and kind of the hard work it takes to succeed.
Trust the process.
Sure.
Trust the process. Understand that you're not going to be happy every day. Understand that there's very, very difficult times, but they do pay out,
Sure.
right? When you come from a point of service, of servicing people, whether it's your employees or your customer, everything kind of seems to start rolling in your favor, okay? So definitely come from a point of service, never come in from a point of sale, because even when you're coming up to a prospect and you're coming from a point of sale, people feel that energy. But when you're coming from a point of service, like, hey, you have this issue and I really want to take care of this problem for you, it's going to cost you so much money down the road, people genuinely understand that.
Sure.
So I think that's my biggest lesson this year, is come from a point of service.
Care about your customer, care about
Yes.
your people that work for you as
Exactly.
well. We kind of live in a culture of instant success or instant gratification. You've been doing this for 20 years. Can you talk a little bit about how long it took you to feel successful in the business, or how long it took you to achieve success in the business?
I think every day is a successful day.
Okay.
Every day is a successful day because I get to wake up, get to lead a pack of people, right? They're families, right? I think about it every day as I have a lot of families that I need to make sure that we're taken care of.
Sure.
So for me, I don't think there'll ever be a moment where I'll say I'm successful. I can have $100 million in the bank or revenue, whatever it is, but it's just every day, man. You gotta be appreciative of what you have.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if it's your one truck or your 100 truck.
Right.
It's all about mindset,
Sure.
right? And being appreciative of what you have.
And just get up and keep doing it.
Just get up and keep doing it.
All right.
That's all it is.
Ruben, thank you so much for your time today. We
Yes, sir.
appreciate all the great information.
Thank you.